teenagers become pregnant. And I've had friends when I was in high school who have become pregnant. And it affects all teens in different ways throughout their lifetime.
Derp.
All right, boys, let's get her.
Oh no, not again!
Tired of having your eggs invaded over and over again? Well, fear no more. Birth Control is here to the rescue.
Thanks, Birth Control.
Duh.
Oh no!
Breaking news from the Trump administration directly impacting millions of American women.
President Trump is rolling back contraceptive coverage for women.
The administration says it's a question of conscience. Critics say it's an attack on women's health.
There's no reason for Planned Parenthood to get any federal money.
We'll work with the Congress to end taxpayer funding of abortion and abortion providers.
To take this away from women while not changing the other care that men receive is really an attack on women. That's discrimination, pure and simple.
You take one of us on, you take all of us on. You take one of us on, you take all of us on. Welcome, y'all!
Fact is, birth control is health care.
And today we're here to deliver a message. We're not going to take this lying down.
For me, that Trump would make birth control more difficult to access for teens, especially since the cost of raising a child is far more expensive than the cost of birth control.
The Department of Health and Human Services recently cut $230 million from an Obama-era federal grant program. The program funded teen pregnancy prevention programs across the country. The cut means programs were shut down 2 years early. Over 80 programs nationwide, many of them aimed at particularly vulnerable at-risk populations, will shutter. The funding cut is also stopping teen pregnancy researchers in their tracks. Many see a total waste of the work they've already put in. Without enough time to complete their projects, their years of research will be for nothing. Many suspect the administration is seeking to shift toward programs that promote sexual abstinence as the sole recommendation for adolescents.
Whether you're on the left or right of the aisle, everyone agrees that teen pregnancy is a problem, unless you plan on actually walking down the aisle first for our more religious friends. Regardless, whether through comprehensive sex education and access to contraception, or abstinence-only curriculums that don't work, both sides would like to reduce the number of eligible cast members for Teen Mom. But it appears our ratings whore, reality TV star-in-chief, wants to keep our country's real-life version of the show going. That's because last week, President Trump quietly and swiftly slashed over $200 million in funding for programs and research to help prevent teen pregnancy. Now, if that $200 million number sounds familiar, it's because it was only 2 months ago that the Trump administration invested over $200 million in abstinence-only education programs. Wonder how they balanced the budget there. Health Secretary and reliably anti-woman stalwart Tom Price, along with the contraception skeptic, I didn't know that condoms were a conspiracy theory, head of public affairs for the Department of Health and Human Services, Theresa Manning, notified 81 programs that the 5-year grants they received back in 2015 would expire next year, 2 years short. These programs from organizations like Johns Hopkins University and Chicago's Department of Public Health were working to help young women avoid unintended pregnancies through evidence-based research and evaluation. They worked to prevent teen pregnancy, but also curtailed the incidence of sexually transmitted infections and risky sexual behaviors to create a healthier youth population with greater opportunities for achievement and success. And they were on the right track. Even though America's teen pregnancy rate is higher than any other Western developed country, the birth rate fell by 8% from 2014 to 2015 among women ages 15 to 19. And the CDC attributes this trend to increased use of contraceptives, which are part of a comprehensive sex education and are surprisingly not included in abstinence-only programs. Guess Theresa Manning's theory on birth control should be wrapped up. Cutting funding for these programs will inevitably increase the number of teen moms, something even Teen Mom has managed to avoid. Teen pregnancy and childbirth doesn't only affect the young women who have higher high school dropout rates and are more likely to end up in poverty, but it affects their children, who are also more likely to drop out of high school, have more health problems, be incarcerated during adolescence, and experience higher rates of unemployment. Now, if that's not enough to convince you that cutting these programs is an assault against women and human rights, then maybe the fact that teen pregnancy and childbirth account for $9.4 billion in costs to US taxpayers will sway you. But even those costs to the American people won't sway the Trump administration on this issue. And that's because they don't actually care about teen pregnancy and the disproportionate effect this move will have on women and people of color, which I guess shouldn't surprise us since it's par for the Mar-a-Lago course at this point. All this administration cares about is sticking to their fundamentalist ideology, which allows them to ignore the scientific evidence that these programs work, unlike abstinence-only education. Not to mention that considering the dramatic upside of improving the lives of countless Americans and the size of the federal budget, that $200 million is little more than a drop in the bucket. But I guess that's one more ball that Trump is willing to drop in truly making America great again. Thanks for watching TYT. Wear a condom and follow me at Hannah Cranston.
Donald Trump just made it harder for you to get an abortion. On his first day as president, he reinstated the global gag rule. What's the global gag rule? We're going to tell you all about it and how it can affect you right now on IO. What is going down, friends? My name is Charlotte. Welcome back to IO, your YouTube source for amazing information. Well, Donald Trump has been busy already, and he just signed an executive order that proves that maybe 2.9 million Americans protesting for reproductive rights didn't really do much to sway his opinion. In fact, it likely made him more ready to defy them. The global gag rule stops funding from any international, non-government organization that provides abortion services. Making it harder to access abortions and information about abortions doesn't get rid of them altogether. Women will continue to get abortions by any means necessary, and if you come from a troubled background and you don't have a lot of money, those means are extremely dangerous. This executive order will force women underground into situations where they perform abortions either on themselves or by someone that is not a certified doctor. The World Health Organization estimates that there are over 21 million unsafe abortions performed globally each year. Along with this executive order, Donald Trump signed several others that he's been very open about sharing. He instituted a federal hiring freeze, and he withdrew from the Trans-Pacific Partnership. But one thing that I found very interesting is that Donald Trump has been abnormally quiet about signing the executive order regarding abortion, and he only talks about it when asked. The thing about the global gag rule is that it gets put into place whenever there's a Republican government, and stripped away again whenever the Democrats are in power. It happened with Reagan, and it happened again with Bush. Trump has made it very clear that he is a pro-life president. As his spokesman Sean Spicer put it, he wants to stand up for all Americans, including the unborn. According to Marie Stopes International, a family planning advocacy group, the loss of its services could mean 6.5 million unintended pregnancies, 2.1 million unsafe abortions, and 21,700 maternal deaths in Trump's first year alone. Okay guys, it's time to respond to some of your comments. Alex Garza said, "The US with crazy shit happening, meanwhile Canada is just eating popcorn watching it all happen." That's not true. We do love popcorn, but tons of Canadians made their way to the marches down in the States, and we also had our own marches here in support. No, we're not just watching your shit go up in flames, we actually care about what's happening in the US. Madison Heath said, I was at the Women's March on Washington and I'm 13. It was amazing and I'm very proud of myself and all the women. Good for you, Madison. I'm really proud of you too. Doc Rich said, thank you, Charlotte. I have been informed. Well guys, Doc Rich is informed. I guess my job is done here. I'll see you guys in the next IO video.
President Trump signed a law today giving states the option to block funding to any organizations that provide abortions, including Planned Parenthood. It rolls back an Obama administration regulation. During the campaign, you might remember, the Republican candidate praised the services that Planned Parenthood provides, except for abortion.
But millions of women have been helped by Planned Parenthood. But we're not going to allow and we're not going to fund as long as you have the abortion going on at Planned Parenthood.
So let's bring in CNN's Sunlen Serfati. And to be clear, it's been illegal for years for any federal spending to go to fund abortion in any way. So what might this law mean for, say, a woman who uses Medicaid, which is a federal program, and wants to go to Planned Parenthood to get contraception or a pap smear?
Well, depending on the state, she could start to see a lot of changes into what's offered. Undoing this gives states basically the freedom to allocate and potentially withhold the money that go to a variety of family planning and preventative health services, things like birth control, pregnancy tests, maternity care, cervical cancer screenings. Undoing this law gives states the freedom to allocate that money now.
So in communities where Planned Parenthood isn't accessible, would cause an increase in unwanted pregnancies, and an increase in unwanted pregnancies can lead to, again, an epidemic of these teenagers not finishing their education, being placed in the position to where they have to choose between their child or their schooling and their future careers. Also, the financial hardship that brings, and this could all be prevented if these programs were accessible to educate and provide resources to these families.
Okay.
Daddy is the sweetest daddy in the world. Daddy is the most handsome. The smartest. The most clever. The kindest. He is my Superman. Daddy wants me to do well at school. Daddy is just great, but he lies. He lies about having a job. He lies about having money. He lies that he's not tired. He lies that he's not hungry. He lies that we have everything. He lies about his happiness. He lies because of me.